Now, before going to the next step, I just want to remind all the honourable members that we cannot do indirectly what we can't do directly. So if there's anything in your questions or your answers, scratch it out now before I have to act. It'll make my life a lot easier. Oral questions. Question orale, the Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Be able to trust that what their government tells them is the truth. Telling the truth is especially important when setting the serious precedent of invoking the Emergencies Act. We now know the Minister of Public Safety has been misleading Canadians. No police force asked for the act. He knows it. We all know it. There was no misunderstanding. The Minister has lost credibility and trust. Will the Prime Minister do the right thing and ask the Minister of Public Safety to step away from his duties?
The Honourable Minister.
When illegal blockades paralyzed our economy, hurt workers and communities, police, municipal and provincial leadership told us more tools were needed to bring them to an end. The former Ottawa police chief said at the time, "We cannot do it alone, and we're grateful for what they provided, but we need more." And even Alberta's Minister of Municipal Affairs wrote that the local RCMP, quote, "have exhausted all local and regional options." We listened, we determined that the Emergencies Act had the tools necessary to end this, and it worked.
Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, there is no misunderstanding, and this is too important to try to skew the words. This is vitally important. No police officers or agencies asked for the act to be invoked. The Minister of Public Safety said that they did. He was not telling the truth. He misled Canadians. He cannot be trusted. He has lost the confidence of this House to do his job. Has he lost the confidence of the Prime Minister? Will the Prime Minister ask him to resign?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Let us be very clear, Mr. Speaker. Law enforcement should never be able to grant themselves extraordinary powers. That's up to government to choose to do, as we did with the Emergencies Act. But once in place, the Emergencies Act allowed police to, according to the Commissioner of the RCMP, refuse entry of individuals traveling to the illegal protest with the intent of participating. It gave police, quote, "the power to arrest individuals who continue to supply fuel, food, and other materials, and to compel individuals to provide essential towing services." Canadians remember how the
Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, the Minister has abdicated and failed in his responsibility to be truthful with Canadians. He is a lawyer and a former federal prosecutor. He knows full well how to choose his words carefully. He knows full well how to be precise in his language. Yet he said over and over again that law enforcement requested the Emergencies Act. Those were his words. We now know his words were not true. How can the Prime Minister have any faith in this minister? Will he ask this minister to resign?
Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, what is crystal clear is how much the Conservative Party is hoping Canadians forget that they stood with the illegal blockaders, that they stood with the people disrupting the daily lives, the economy, the communities of Canadians from coast to coast to coast. Police services needed more tools to deal with these blockades, and that's why we stepped up to protect Canadians. We invoked the Emergencies Act, and it worked, Mr. Speaker, to end these illegal blockades and to keep Canadians safe.
Leader of the Opposition.
Our responsibility, Mr. Speaker, is to stand up for Canadians who have been misled by this minister. Speaker, Canadians were shocked and disgusted to learn that last weekend the Minister of Foreign Affairs sent one of her delegates to share champagne and caviar with Russian diplomats. Mr. Speaker, while Putin and his thugs continue an unjustified and violent war on innocent civilians in Ukraine, can the Prime Minister tell us how in the name of everything that is good did he allow this to happen? We are supposed to be friends of Ukraine. Why did his minister send one of her delegates to party with Russian diplomats who are still being allowed to stay in Canada?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, not a half an hour ago, I got off a 45-minute phone call with President Volodymyr Zelensky to talk about everything Canada has been doing and will continue to do, including by leading conversations at the Summit of the Americas last week, continuing to deliver on toughened sanctions, on more equipment and ammunition. We will continue to step up to support Ukraine. Obviously, it was absolutely unacceptable for any Canadian representative to be at this event. It never should have happened, and we denounce it thoroughly.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Well, his minister is either incompetent or complicit in what happened, maybe both. Either way, it's a complete failure on behalf of the Liberals. Canadians expect that their Minister of Foreign Affairs will lead by example by condemning and isolating Putin's regime, not sending senior officials to party at the Russian embassy. The Prime Minister and his Foreign Affairs Minister claim to be great friends of Ukraine. I hope he apologized to President Zelensky, because what kind of friend sends a delegate to their enemy's house to enjoy champagne and caviar?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
I can assure the Leader of the Opposition and indeed all Canadians that President Zelensky and I had an extremely positive conversation where this issue did not come up, because obviously there are much more important issues, like how we are continuing to deliver